Hello, welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I want to show you the creation of a quick character, maybe like a spider kind of character. And I want to show you a little bit of concept of inverse kinematics. And this is more like kind of improvised rigging. So yeah, let's just get started. We're gonna use this cube as a starter. It's gonna be our body for our creature. And save this as improv spider, yeah, spidery, whatever. We're gonna be using maybe a UV sphere for this, and gonna be using this as the eyeballs for our spider. Let's actually just make it triple eyes. We can add shaders at a later stage, but basically this is our spider. And if we go to the, make sure that the front is correctly facing the front. So if I go to viewpoint front, so that's basically wrong. So the front should be facing this way. So delete, create a UV sphere. Wonder why my Blender is a bit slow. Maybe because of this. Quit Safari. Okay, now it's a bit faster. It's smaller. Triple eyes. We can fix this later. Okay, so that's our character, and we want to create legs, and then we want to kind of have the character moving in a sort of believable way. So we need to use IK for that. But first of all, we need to create a leg. So duplicate the cube, make this smaller, and then let's go to edit mode, hit tab, and then just right click, merge vertices at center, and we're gonna just hit E and extrude the points so we have the leg. A very basic creature. Okay, and then you use skin modifier, and then duplicate it and duplicate it again, and then you go to edit mode and turn on X-ray. Simply fix the leg. Go to edit mode. Yeah, make sure it's kind of like planted on the floor. That's very, very important. So yeah, we have this 1, 2, 3, right? And you probably at this point you want to just merge them, Control J, and then maybe mirror them to the other side. And for the axis, we want it to be centered, so we need to apply the transform. So Control A, apply all transform. So now we have the correct mirror. The mirror needs to be up there. Go to edit mode and then just make the legs smaller for our creature. And turn off X-ray mode. Probably would be better if this cube is bigger. So it's probably the ugliest spider ever, but yeah, we want to kind of just animate this, so we need to have some kind of controller. first of all, okay, let's apply the mirror. Okay, we still have our skin modifier working. If we turn it off, it's gonna go back to just polygon edge. But before we apply this, we just create armature. Okay, so now we have our bones, and with bones we can simply pose it. Okay, but if you are animating the character like this, doesn't look believable, because it's not really planted on the floor. That's why we need IK constraint, right? So let's hit the skin modifier. So we are done with that modifier, but we still have armature, and this guy is still already skin to the bones. So the next thing we want is just to create a quick IK. An IK is actually something that's hiding inside pose mode of the bones. And normally, if you want to do it the hard way, you go to select one of the bones, and then you go to the bone constraint and the IK here, inverse kinematics. Assign an IK, and then you perhaps create a bones, or you add another, like you create an object, you place it down there, and then you set it as a target. So that will work. If you want to do it like quickly, there's an automated way. Select the bones, and then you go to F3, type IK, and add IK to the bone. There's these options without targets, but in this case you probably can do this. This one will create an empty, which is kind of like an object in object level that you can use, so that you can just quickly animate like that. A better way, sometimes maybe in the future, the controller should be part of the bones so that you can keyframe it very quickly. But in this case, we can do it this way. So it's kind of not the most correct way, but you can do it this way if you want to improvise and do it very, very quickly. So left, front, call it leg, left front controller. We do it again. We have an armature here still. We go to pose mode, select this leg, and then continue on. F3, add IK, and do the same. Select the bones, F3, okay, select the bone, F3, add IK. Oh, okay, that's interesting. It's actually using the empty. So now with nothing selected, F3, add IK to new empty. Okay, that seems to work. Be careful, however, with this empty, you can see this is like still have value, and if you reset it, it's gonna go to 0, 0, 0. Maybe you want to kind of reset this value, put it in a delta. For now, let's just keep going. Sometimes with a kind of like with an impromptu, if you are improvising and you just want to make something very quickly, you don't think about all that, like making the controller looks kind of correct. But something to keep in mind. Select the bones, go to pose mode, F3, add IK to new empty. So what happened just now, right? I just find out if you have an empty here and you have it selected, and you go to select the bones, and then you go to pose mode, select this bone, and then F3, add IK. You have this option to active objects. It's gonna snap into that objects. So this guy becoming the controller, and that's actually okay. It's because you just wanna quickly rig this creature. So okay, so now we have our creatures, and we have controller for the legs in form of empty. But this is also not gonna work yet because you need to have the root bone of this character. So you go to edit mode. So with the armature selected, you go to edit mode, and then here with nothing selected, Shift A, and you add the bones, and these bones can be the master controller for our creature. So that's, I think, for the most basic characters, this is probably what you need. Of course, with the IK, there's something called pole target. So that's basically for your IK where you want the knee to be pointing at. We don't need to think about that for now, but yeah, something to keep in mind as well. So back to edit mode, select all these, and then parent it to this guy, Control P. If you're not sure connected or keep offset, just try one of them and then undo if you made a mistake. Choose keep offset, however, I think that will do the job. So if you are now in the pose mode, you can see character is moving, the legs moving, just the body is not moving. Okay, so this part of the body, okay, with these ugly eyes, we can combine them. Control J. It's a good idea actually to add a material beforehand. So maybe I should do that. Base color. Oh, okay. So that's for everything. Let's undo that. Select this part of the objects, assign a new material, give different color, darker. Okay, that's for the body material. Since this object is combined, we can create another material, give it a color, and let's go to edit modes. Select the face of the eyes, and then just hit L, and then assign this material, eye material. Okay, we can make a better creature for sure, but in this case we do it very quickly. So select these objects with the bone. Actually, something you can do, I think if you select the bones beforehand and then you select this guy, you can actually Control P and then parent it to the bone relative. However, I'm just gonna use automatic weight for now. So we can now animate the character. Well, in this case, it's gonna look really funny with the eyeballs, but Let me try do it better. Cancel that. Select this guy. Select the bones. With the bones being selected, one of the bones being selected. Hitting Control P, bone relative can do the job better in this case, but you need to later bake the constraint. So you can see now the whole body of the characters is properly constrained into that single bones. So now you can animate this character. However, like I said before, if you are doing the IK this way and constrain it into an object, you cannot easily select all of them as a single bones and then animate it. So in a way, this is kind of like a wrong way to rig. But if you just want to improv, like you want to quickly rig the character and then want to animate it this way, it's kind of already done. So it's interesting. So if we go to the timeline now, and then start animating this character, just select, we are in a pose mode, and this is the bones we are selecting, and everything else is constrained. We will bake them all anyways. What matters in the end is really just the armature and the character itself that you need to bake and keyframe if you want to export it into game engine or as an AR. But if you're just want to animate it in Blender, this is kind of working. Okay, so hit I, lock rod scale, keyframe rod, lock rod scale, and then you animate the character. But again, this is what's important here. Really, the key point is the IK. If you have the character planted on the floor correctly, it's gonna look much believable than if you don't have anything planted. Okay, and then we can animate the leg. And if you're done with everything, to bake everything normally, the easiest way is really just to file export as FBX. Sometimes you actually want to just bake the actions, so F3 and bake the actions, everything including visual keying. This will actually do the job as well. Bake data to the pose or the object. You actually need both of them, but maybe let's try select all of them, and we have 80 frames. F3 bake actions to bake data to the objects. Oh, undo that. F3. Let me actually try the FBX first. FBX, Improv Spider, export FBX, file, new, general, file, import FBX. Yeah, the bones actually moving correctly, but this part, of course, is wrong. It's always kind of been the case with Blender, and if you are just parenting the bones this way, you want to kind of skin the character properly. However, the bone is working. So this part, be careful when you're just parenting it to the bones. Yeah, this will actually export as AR. But yeah, but I'm just showing it to you. This is kind of like a slightly wrong, but if you are improvising, it could work. It's just the way you rig and create a control and how you animate it. All the ways through the very end is very, very important. So maybe in another video tutorial, I'll show you something that's more correct. Like with the IK control, ideally, you don't do it on an empty, but you want to have another bones that's not deforming the character as a controller, and that's a little bit better. But like I said, what matters really is in the end is after you bake all the constraint and the bones, that's actually what's matter the most for your game engine or for your final AR objects. So this is looking pretty bad, but it's actually working as a quick animations. This part needs to be fixed, but yeah, anyway, yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.